Hello everybody, welcome to the Donington grid. A little bit nippy down here, but conditions so much better than they were last time out at Brands Hatch. I'm down with Matt Neal. Matt's teammate Gordon Shedden obviously on pole position, but unlike Matt, Gordon doesn't have any ballast on board for qualifying. So Matt, it's a big weekend for you. Obviously your 500th race coming up later on. We'll talk to you more about that later, but it's also your home race, isn't it? And a circuit that has a special place in your heart.
Oh yeah, it was the circuit I got my first ever victory back in '99 and was scooping 250 grand, and it's only since that point that I've really been able to sort of constantly push for wins and then championships after that. So yeah, it's close to me. It's one of my closest circuits, so yeah, very special.
Well, talking of wins, you're currently standing on 49, so every good chance of reaching that half century here this weekend, isn't there?
The problem is it's so close between all of us at the front. You just need that little bit of an edge. You know, we've all made slight adjustments on the car to come into race trim from yesterday. The ambience dropped, so that's going to change a few things. So, and we got these soft tyres thrown into the mix now. We don't know who's running what. So, I'll just get my head down and see what we can do.
Best of luck. Hope it goes well for you. Let's go and grab a word with Jason Plato, Matt's old adversary, and sitting alongside him on the grid as well. Obviously, Jason had a great weekend, first time out at Brands Hatch. 2 wins, currently leading the championship. But Jason, how difficult is it going to be to maintain your form here at Donington?
Well, that's a negative question, isn't it? No. Yeah, I'm pleased with qualifying. You know, weight corrected, we're the quickest. We believe that 45 kilos is half a second a lap. That's what it normally is. So if you do the math, that means we're quickest. So Gordon is going to be odds-on favourite to win this, or should do. And if he doesn't, I think he'll be kicking himself. My best chance is to get on the podium and then wait to race 2 when we've all got some weight on, and then we can have a look at doing some winning. But I think a win with Gordon up there with no ballast will be tough.
But if you thought the last question was negative, then I apologise for this one in advance, because I was just going to point out that this is actually a bit of a bogey track for you. I mean, it's 5 years since you last had a win here. What chance of turning that around?
You know, it's funny, isn't it, how these things happen. You know, every year we come here, we're competitive, and just the dice hasn't rolled in our favour. You know, either I've made some errors and got myself involved in some shunts, or other people have made errors and I've been involved in their shunts. It's one of those things. Certainly, I feel quick enough to win. Let's see if we can't make amends, and let's see if we can't get this MGKX Momentum Racing car right at the sharp end of the grid.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for you. Hope you have a nice, clean race. See you later on, Jason. Now, it's been a great weekend for the Toyotas, all 3 of them in the top 10, including Adam Morgan, who's had a great run yesterday, qualified in 6th place. Adam is, of course, back with his home run Sicily team this weekend. And Adam, you seem to be settled now that you're back with the old guys again.
Yeah, it is. It's going pretty well at the minute. You know, it's a fantastic team. It's a great atmosphere, and you know, touch wood, everything so far has gone to plan.
And you've got a new engineer that you're working with this year as well, Paul Ridgway. How much of a help has that been for you?
Yeah, he's great. You know, I don't want to blow his trumpet too much, but you know, it's working well so far, and the team's gelling really well. So no, I'm really happy at the minute. You
lined up nicely in a position P6. You could do some damage from here, couldn't you?
Yeah, you know, I'm going same mentality as Brands. Keep it on the track, keep the points ticking over. Just nice and consistent, really.
Keep it on the track, that always helps. Have a good one. Now, I think we've got time for a quick word with Sam Tordoff, who also had a great weekend at Brands Hatch. 3 finishes in the top 6, including a podium in the last race. Let's just dive in. And Sam, you seem to be settling in very well here at MG.
Yeah, you know, I'm having a lot of fun, and we certainly made a good show of ourselves at Brands Hatch last time out. You know, 3 top 5s, which was more than what we could have wished for, and looking to build on it here this weekend.
A reasonable qualifying position, but I know you felt that you didn't really get everything that you could have got out of the car.
No, you know, we didn't quite maximise what we had, and we tried a few set of things for qualifying which didn't work. You know, we'd be running 3rd and 4th in practice, so I was looking for a bit of a stronger running qualifying. But, you know, 7th is good, and if we can have a bad qualifying session and still be 7th, then it bodes well.
So how do you rate the opposition up above? I mean, who do you think your biggest challenge is going to come from? The Hondas are looking quite quick, 3 of them ahead, including Andy Jordan. He's been strong so far, hasn't he?
Yeah, certainly the Hondas are going to be the ones to beat. You know, the Toyota's looking good as well. And both Frank and Gordon on the front row don't have any ballast. You know, we're carrying a lot of ballast as a result of last time out, and that might hurt us compared to them in this race. But you know, the tables will be turned for race 2.
Hope it goes well for you. Have a good one. Well, the racing will be getting underway fairly shortly. So, oh, I think we've got a bit more time. So let's see if let's go and grab a word actually with Colin Turkington, who definitely fared a lot better in qualifying yesterday than he did at Brands Hatch. Just if I can get your net down, Colin. How are you feeling this weekend? A little more settled than you were at Brands, I'm sure.
Yeah, we've done a few more laps, so you know, we're towards the sharp end of the grid for race 1. Anyhow, P8 is a good place to start. So, you know, if I can make a little bit of progress, I would be happy. But just trying to get to the finish and learn about the car.
Those laps are so important, are they? Because, I mean, this, you know, it hardly turned a wheel before we got to Brands Hatch. Every time you go out, you're getting more information.
Yeah, every lap is an exploration, and you know, even in this race, I'm not quite sure how the car is going to go. So, yeah, it's testing all the time at the moment.
When you say you're not sure how the car's going to go, what do you mean?
Just how the tyres are going to last over the course of the race, you know. So, I think I'm going to be quite conservative in the beginning, just to make sure I've got some tyres left at the end.
What's your feeling on the tyres? Because obviously everybody has to run this new soft tyre at some point. Do you think, my feeling is that there's talk of rain later on, so everybody's probably going to hold off till the final race. What's your view?
Well, yeah, we're looking at doing something similar. You know, we don't know enough about the soft tyre yet to want to run it. So, you know, at the moment my car seems faster on the harder tyre.
Great stuff. Well, have a good one. Look forward to seeing how it goes, and it's definitely now time to throw up to our commentators. So let's hand over to Tim Harvey and David Addison.
So the first of 3 races about to get underway here at Donington. What did we learn at Brands Hatch? We learned it was cold, and despite new regulations about tyres, new teams coming in and new drivers, it was still 2 familiar drivers that did the winning. 2 wins to Jason Plato, 1 to Matt Neal, but that winning margin of, what was it, 83 thousandths of a second over Gordon Shedden. It was a very close finish, Tim Harvey. And Gordon here, ballast-free, starts on pole position. Vital that he gets his championship back on track after a bit of a ropey first 2 races for different reasons.
Yeah, I mean, that happened to him last year and he got it all back together. And of course, here last year, he had 2 wins and a second. So this is where he wants to repeat that from and get his championship back on cue, get up with the points with Jason and Andrew Jordan, and I think it's going to be a fascinating tussle. The emergence of, I think, Frank Rathel and Adam Morgan at the front of the grid on merit is also going to be worth watching. Can they translate that into race results?
And Frank Rathel is certainly going to be one to watch as the cars now are released onto this green flag lap. A chance for them to get some temperature into the tyres. Let's have a look at how this grid lines up. Gordon Shedden is the man on pole position. Frank Rathel lining up second, and the margin between them at the end of qualifying just 49 thousandths. It's Andrew Jordan who will start third ahead of Matt Neal, then Jason Plato and Adam Morgan to round out the top 6. Sam Tordoff is next, then Colin Turkington. Dave Newsham, a little bit disappointing yesterday, but he out-qualified Jeff Smith. Then Tom Onslow Cole and Rob Collard, and they are going to be 2 to watch because they are the best placed of those that are on soft tyres. Matt Jackson's on softs, and he is next on the grid ahead of Ollie Jackson. Dan Welch is in the pit lane, Miguel, having a drive shaft change. Aaron Smith is next on the grid ahead of Will Bratt. He is on softs, and so is his teammate Rob Austin. Panzer and Sherman, the cars are dubbed. Sherman having been rebuilt after its big crash at Brands. Then Jack Goff and James Kay ahead of Nick Foster. He also is on the soft tyres, and David Nye, Liam Griffin and Lee Wood, who's suffering from a down on power engine, next. Then it's Joe Girling. James Cole had a trying day yesterday, but he is there on the grid ahead of Warren Scott, who disappointingly yesterday had the steering rack break going down through the Kramer curves. Now, if you want to watch the Indian Premier League cricket today, visit itv.com. That's where you can find all the action as we get ready for this first of 3 Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship races of the day. We've talked about the grid, we've talked about the fact that Jeff Smith is lining up 10th. He's got 18 kilos of ballast on board. There he is, ready for this first race of the day. What progress can he make from there? Let's see if we can check in with Jeff Smith as he makes his way up towards the grid. Jeff, David in the box. How's this race going to be for you, do you think?
As we were after qualifying.
He's finished talking to Dave Benbow, his engineer, I hope. Let's see if he can talk to me. Jeff, David in the box. How's this race looking for you?
Yeah, not too bad. It could have been a lot better. We didn't find the sweet spot in qualifying or through practice too, really, yesterday. So a little bit further down the grid than I'd like to have been after the performance at Brands, but we think we found where we need to be overnight on the data, so made a few changes and hopefully we'll be there.
And because of the good results at Brands, you've got some ballast on board. Is that a big handicap round here, 18 kilos?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, everywhere where you've got to stop, if there's 18 kilos of weight there, it makes it harder to stop and harder to accelerate it as well. So, yeah, certainly makes a difference to the car.
Have a good race, Jeff. Good luck. Now there is Dan Welch down in the pit lane. The Proton undergoing this drive shaft change. The team's still hard at work. If he does join in, it's going to be, certainly after the start, may of course cost him at least one lap, and therefore this first race of the three is going to become effectively a test session for him. So, cars up to the grid. Gordon Shedden, ballast free on pole position. His first pole since Alton Park 2011. He's got Frank Raffle with him at the front. Frank quoted yesterday as saying he was out of control and he hoped everybody else was equally out of control, because it really was a committed lap, but it wasn't quite as good as that as Gordon Shedden put in. Andrew Jordan, third on the grid, 36 kilos of ballast on board, second in the championship. And then you've got Matt Neal lining up fourth, having had victory last time out in round 3 at Brands Hatch. We're ready for round 4 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. Green flag shown at the back to say that everybody is in place, ready to go. The lights go red, engine notes rise. When the lights go out, we are going to be racing at Donington. The lights out, away they go. A lot of wheel spin and task mode from Raffle. Shedden makes a good start. He leads on the way towards Redgate. Andrew Jordan up the inside line to try to get second. Raffle has to give him racing room. Down towards Redgate, can Matt Neal squeeze through on the inside? No, he can't. It is Gordon Shedden who leads. Raffle goes out wide. Andrew Jordan ducks up the inside to try to get second, and he's just about got his nose in front, but Raffle's still on the outside line as a sideways Tom Onslow Cole recovers at Hollywood.
And Andrew Jordan just makes that second place secure, having gone side by side. Oh, down the inside, Raffle looking at getting on Neal, who runs wide. Raffle's lost a couple of places, but a good even start at the front.
Heading up towards McLean's for the first time, the top two just edging away a little bit. Gordon Shedden in a much lighter car than Andrew Jordan has got. Same type of Honda Civic, run by different teams. So the reigning champion leads the way. And look at Matt Neal going defensive, because right on his tail is Frank Raffle. And then right up behind him is Jason Plato, and that's Adam Morgan on the inside of Colin Turkington. They lean on one another, almost going into Coppice. Morgan's got the inside line as he got the place. Here they come onto Starkey Straight as Raffle tries to work out how to get past Matt Neal, and Jason Plato looks to get past the pair. And then behind, Morgan and Turkington almost overlapping into the chicane. Torn off up the inside, he's gone past the BMW. Great stuff.
Oh, really good action on this first lap. No contact pretty much anywhere down the grid, and we saw Dan Welch getting out of the pit lane, so he's back in the race at the back. Torn off on the inside, still of Raffle, and he's got that position now if Raffle can't come back underneath him.
Out of the right-hander of Redgate, they come. Plato getting past Raffle. There's Tordoff busy battling, look, with Morgan. So Sam Tordoff is working his way through to the front. He's got 27 kilos of ballast on board as Matt Neal shaves the grass coming downhill. Look at Morgan looking for the way back for the inside of Tordoff, who defends fantastically into the old hairpin. Now look at this battle for third place, because you've now got Matt Neal versus Jason Plato, the two of them running together. And Scrappy-Doo, Frank Raffle, is there in 5th place, ballast free, but he's gone backwards really off the start, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. I mistakenly called that Tordoff passing him. Of course it is Plato moving up into that position. Oh, and Dan Welch, well, he's not doing his new drive shaft any good by bouncing it across the grass, is he? But cold tyres probably on that car contributing to that and pushing hard on the first lap.
Down to the chicane for third place. Matt Neal versus Jason Plato versus Frank Raffle. And actually Andrew Jordan is being caught fractionally by that train, isn't he? Gordon Shedden comes out of the chicane. Remember, he wants to get his championship back on track. Disqualified from race 2 at Brands, so no points, but he's leading here. Jordan second. Third, Matt Neal, and Jordan locks up a little bit going into Redgate. You've got Jason Plato in 4th spot, the championship leader after 2 wins at Brands Hatch. 5th is Frank Raffle, and then 6th is Sam Tordoff.
Yeah, on board with Raffle down the Craner curves. I had a quick look at his data to see if he was flat out on that quali lap that he described as being out of control, because it's always a big thing for the drivers. Can you get down the Craner curves flat? He had a slight lift, and in fact, that was very much part of the course amongst all the drivers I spoke to. I only found one driver who did it flat, and that was the pole man, Gordon Shedden. And even his teammate, Matt Neal, was hugely impressed with that.
Look at the way Jason's got to defend, though. Now Frank Raffle is right up behind him into Coppice. Jason takes a big bite of curb on the inside. There's no chance for Frank to get past there because the line was covered by the MG. And there you can see the leading cars coming down towards the chicane. In 6th place, Sam Tordoff, busy defending still from Adam Morgan. And because Jason's a bit busy defending from Frank Raffle, he can't do much about Matt Neal. Wheel waving through the chicane. The MG runs a little bit wider than does the Toyota over the line. Gordon Shedden has done the best lap of the race, and he's point 888 of the second ahead of Andrew Jordan. And now Adam Morgan does the fastest lap in his quest to get right onto the tail of Sam Tordoff. There, look, going into Redgate. The best of those on soft tyres is Aaron Smith, and he's 11th. And there you can see for 8th, Colin Turkington busy defending from Dave Newsham. BMW versus Toyota onto the top of the Craner curves behind them. Matt Jackson is 10th in the Airwaves Ford, but has not really had a great weekend thus far. Now, Jeff Smith, here you are riding with him, is down in 14th. Tom Onslow Cole ahead of him. Not a great first couple of laps, though, for Jeff Smith.
No, Onslow Cole doing great guns with that new VW CC. It's a great-looking car produced by Team Hard, literally the eve before the first race at Brands Hatch, and Onslow Cole's developing that car very quickly, and I hope we see it towards the front. It's a stunning-looking car that was splendid this week in its Rockstar energy drink livery.
Two of them nose to tail out of copies. Tom Onslow Cole busy defending. He said was held up a little bit in qualifying yesterday, so he thinks he could have done better. And Rob Collard is ahead of them. He's on the soft tyres as well in this ever-improving BMW. Colin Turkington's example comes out of the chicane in 8th place. Over the timing line they go now, down towards Redgate Corner once again. Shedden leads Jordan by 0.8 of a second. Newsham has a look to the inside of Turkington. Not really an opportunity for him, that, but he's trying to rattle the former champion.
Yeah, remember the BMWs, they take a little bit longer to warm their tyres up, even though they're starting on this soft tyre, and we'll have to watch the times further on down the race and see how they compare. But Newsham obviously wanting to get through. He's lost a bit of time going down the Craners there, and as always, all the cars right over the curbs.
And Matt Jackson, who is closing up a little bit, he's on softs as well now. But the soft-tyred cars not really having the advantage here that we saw in the first race at Brands Hatch, are they?
No, but they're still setting personal best lap times.
True.
So it shows that the tyre is working well. Jeff Smith looking. Does he get a chance? No, he doesn't. Onslow Cole just covers, but he's been slow coming through Coppice and opened the door. Jeff Smith's immediately up the inside and alongside coming onto the straight. He'll have the inside coming up to the final chicane.
Last of the late breakers, they almost rub as they come to the breaking point. Jeff Smith on the inside line goes through. He takes the place. Jeff Smith goes 13th under braking for the chicane, and straight away gaps for Volkswagen coming over the line. So the Passat dropping back into the clutches straight away of Ollie Jackson.
Yeah, Ollie Jackson making good inroads now, getting to hang with that Speedworks Toyota. Can he go round the outside? Is Onslow Cole going to push him wide? It just leans on him enough, and that's enough to let Rob Austin up the inside. Careful, Rob, this is a high-speed area.
That Audi has already had a fair amount of damage this year thanks to a Speedworks Toyota. This time no dramas, round the outside. That was really brave through the Craner curves. He's gained a place. So Rob Austin in the repaired Audi A4, dubbed Sherman. He's had a lot of support from fans buying T-shirts to raise money to help offset the cost of the rebuild. But yesterday, he thinks he had the wrong gear ratios in before qualifying. The car, both his and Will Bratt's similar car, so slow compared to everybody else in the speed traps. Well, Gordon Shedden is certainly not slow. He leads by over a second. The much heavier car behind of Andrew Jordan looks at the moment as though it's going to have to settle for second place. Matt Neal is third, Jason Plato fourth, Frank Raffle is fifth, Sam Tordoff sixth, and seventh is Adam Morgan. And Adam Morgan has done the fastest lap of the race thus far. Eighth is where the first best battle comes from. That's Turkington versus Newsham, 0.3 of a second between them.
Yeah, Morgan really pushing Tordoff hard here. I think this is where the battle's going to come from. The front ones are pretty much as you'd expect, with Shedden running no ballast, just controlling the weight at the front. Jordan, Neal, Plato probably reasonably happy with their positions, bearing in mind the weight that they're carrying, and looking for the tyre degradation over the rest of the race to perhaps come into play.
Through McLean's corner goes Gordon Shedden, the race leader. The reigning champion, as we say, trying to get his championship back on track. He got that point yesterday for pole position. Every little helps, doesn't it? Come the end of the season, that could well be crucial when we get to Brands Hatch in October. There is Adam Morgan, 7th place at the moment, and a far better driver seemingly than last year when he was involved in a fair number of incidents, some of his own making, some not his fault, but he had a good trouble-free day at Brands Hatch. He was good in free practice, good in qualifying yesterday, and he's carrying this improved form into the race as well. There he is on the back of Sam Tordoff. 6th and 7th, they ran out of the chicane. The race leader has put 7 laps in the book. Shedden leads Jordan by 1.2 seconds, but where does Morgan make his move on Tordoff?
Yeah, these are the new breed of young touring car drivers. These are the drivers we're going to see in touring cars for the next few years, and they're a really exciting bunch. Further back, just behind this, we've got Matt Jackson in 10th place. He's the leading driver on the soft tyre, the white wall tyre. His last lap, an 11.5, as opposed to his best lap of an 11.3. So clearly that soft tyre is still holding on. There they are, the Airwaves car just behind, and they're holding on fine at the moment.
They're also having their own private battle, the two Airwaves Fords. 4/10 split them starting the lap. It is Matt Jackson only just ahead of his teammate Aaron Smith, and there, look, behind them is another great fight going on where you've got Rob Collard and Jeff Smith. Smith in the blue Honda to the inside, coming up towards Coppice. He brakes late, there's a gap, and through he goes. Another place picked off by Jeff Smith, and Collard, remember, is on soft tyres, and now he's going backwards, although Onslow Cole on soft is looking to try to make a move on him and go forwards.
Yeah, Jeff Smith's made good progress through this little group, and it'll be Collard. Oh, Collard brakes very late there. He's going to lose a bit of momentum coming out of the chicane, and Onslow Cole's going to get a run on him immediately now. Onslow Cole's pretending to go down the outside. See if he flicks last minute over to the inside. Collard's aware of it. Oh, he's left a gap here. Yes, I saw that coming. Great move by Onslow Cole.
He's on the inside, they rub a little bit, onto the curb on the outside goes Rob Collard, who keeps his foot in. They're absolutely side by side onto the top of the Crater curves. Look at this, and the BMWs go back ahead. Fantastic. That was really brave from Collard.
That was fantastic. Two great corners driven by both of them, just giving each other enough room. And, well, Collard was brave. Onslow Cole gave him the room, set him up beautifully for that pass into Redgate, and this battle looked... Oh! Another great late lunge up the inside. That'll push Collard a little wide, but I'm sure he's going to cut the corner, cut across to the inside. And look who's coming up behind. It's the Terminator, the Shermanator, whatever you want to call him. He's coming up fast.
It's Rocket Rob, isn't it? Rob Austin in the Audi. This is great defence, though, from Rob Collard. We know that he's not an easy driver to get past. He's one of the best racers in the championship, is Rob. And this new car still being developed. He flings it into the chicane. Tom Onslow Cole is right there behind him. Catching them is Rob Austin. This, remember, is 13th, 14th, 15th over the line. And this time Rob Collard stands his ground on the inside, but not enough because the gap is there again. Here comes Onslow Cole. This time he's done it. Into the corner. Through goes Tom Onslow Cole.
Yeah, Onslow Cole getting great drive out of the chicane, but look, the BMW is very quick on off Redgate, but Onslow Cole has that covered now. And, well, great driving by both of them, and it's really good to see Onslow Cole pushing that VW Passat towards the front. Collard's made a mistake. Austin's gone through.
And Ollie Jackson might just get through as well as Rob Collard is recovering. Here comes the Speedworks Toyota up the inside, going through Schwartz curve. Yes, Jackson goes through there, but he's on the outside line for McLean's. And Rob Collard fights back on the inside line. Never gives up, does he, Rob? And he retakes that place.
No, but it was fairly clear that the soft tyre option on that BMW is not really working anymore as he's dropping back.
Out of Coppice he comes onto the straight as up front. Gordon Shedden still leads Andrew Jordan by 11/10. In third is Matt Neal, fourth is Jason Plato, and then fifth now is Adam Morgan ahead of Frank Raffle. Sam Tordoff is down to 7th. Turkington is 8th, Newsham 9th, and Aaron Smith now up into 10th ahead of his teammate Matt Jackson. The best of the soft-tyred cars. Now this is how we had that order shuffle going down to the old hairpin. Raffle to the inside. Gained a place going through, but having done so, Tordoff ran wide. Raffle gets onto the curb, and Morgan, with the momentum, kept his nose clean, gets past the pair.
Yeah, that's a good little battle. Those two, they're really battling to be the top youngster, aren't they, in the series? And, well, Adam Morgan, their patience proved the right way forward as Raffle charged up the inside of Tordoff, and they both ended up running wide.
Also a battle to beat. Top Toyota, the manufacturer's home venue, effectively. This now on board with Jason Plato. Matt Neal is ahead of him. This is for third place. 7/10 split them at the start of the lap. We're on lap 11 out of 16, down towards the chicane. Jason Plato is close, but not quite close enough to have a go to try to get himself onto the podium here.
Yeah, there's a big sausage curb on the right-hand side of that chicane, and I noticed Jason staying well clear of it. He actually bent one of the rear track rods in practice by running over that, so he's giving that a fair bit of leeway in the race.
Into Hollywood, onto the top of the Craner curves then. For third place, Matt Neal in the Honda. Winner last time out at Brands, fends off Jason Plato, the championship leader. Gap on the inside at the old hairpin, just about. Jason not quite close enough there. Both of them use the curve on the inside and on the exit of the corner, and another chunk of curve is taken on that left-hander, going under Starkey's Bridge now towards Schwant's curve, and then into the right of McLean's. Riding with Plato, can he make a move at Coppice?
Matt's just holding a tight enough line and a good enough line to prevent him, but it's very close.
Through this double apex right-hander. Again, you can see how evenly matched the cars are, and remember, Jason Plato has got 45 kilos of weight on board. He's got a good run down to the chicane. This time he thinks about it, jinks out of the mirrors, slots back in again, just trying to unsettle Matt Neal if he can, but that's not an easy thing to do. As we know, there are many, many, many years of experience inside that Honda Civic.
I'm just trying to work out, you think how many laps these two drivers have done around this circuit just in their BTCC career alone, never mind anything else, and it's well into the thousands, isn't it? So they could almost drive the circuit blindfold on instinct.
Nose to tail once more, down through the Craner curves. The fight for third place, Matt Neal with lots of curve being taken, and Jason Plato with a different line, looks for a gap at the old hairpin, still can't do it. The lead gap has come down fractionally though. Gordon Shedden just being caught a bit by Andrew Jordan, down by a fifth of a second, who though is going to join them on the podium. At the moment, it's Matt Neal third, and Jason Plato, look, he's getting ever more committed to trying to take that place away.
Yeah, and here's the battle at the lead, and Andrew Jordan has certainly closed up a little bit. Whether this is a case of Shedden controlling the gap, Morgan by no means in a secure fifth place. Look, Raffle right up behind him. These two Toyota Avensis looking really good, and Tornoff hoping to add to his point score. He's such an impressive debut at Brands Hatch last time out.
On board with Raffle into the chicane. He runs sixth, Adam Morgan ahead of him as the top Toyota driver in the race. Different teams, Sicily Racing versus Dynojet. Both family-run teams, of course. They come over the timing line, and the gap between them, 0.4 of a second. Frank Raffle under pressure from Sam Tornoff, trying to attack Morgan as well, but I think having been second on the grid, Frank will be a bit disappointed with this race.
Yeah, and interestingly, the on-board from Raffle following Morgan. Morgan absolutely nailed that sausage curve then through the chicane, and it got a big speed advantage coming out of the chicane. This is on-board Smith with his teammate Matt Jackson in front. Matt runs wide, Smith slides up the inside into Coppice and gains that place.
So Jeff Smith goes through, takes the place away. Now this is the race lead situation. It had come down again at the start of this lap to half a second. It could be Gordon Shedden controlling the pace, but Andrew Jordan is rising to the occasion, that's for sure. Matt Neal still third as he flings the Honda into Coppice. There, fourth is Jason Plato. And it's still a three-way fight for fifth behind, isn't it? Morgan, Raffle and Tornoff. Now, James Cole's rather challenging weekend has got no better. This was at Redgate. He locked up and got a tap from behind. That was Joe Girling. And Lee Wood is right there with them as well. Leaders over the line, and the gap is down again from half a second to 4/10. We're on lap 15 out of 16. Andrew Jordan has not given up yet.
No, he certainly hasn't, and he's protecting that position. Here's Tornoff. Raffle on the outside, just looking for a way through. Tornoff's gone very defensive now for that sixth place as they go down through the Craner curves. Just watch how much arm movement. Watch their hands on the steering wheel as they come through here. A lot of movement on the wheel. They're really having to control those cars.
This is the old hairpin, so Tornoff ahead of Raffle, only just though, because Sam Tornoff is defending now, so Adam Morgan is getting away. Riding on board with Frank Raffle, climbing uphill now. Use that curve at Schwant's, then set the car up for McLean's. It is an overtaking opportunity. And Sam Tornoff there using lots of curve and a bit of the grass creep on the other side of that on the inside to make that MG as wide as it possibly can be. This is Coppice.
And just to give you some information going forward, the soft tyre cars have slipped back. Matt Jackson now, his lap times where he's a second and a half slower than his best lap. And in fact, the best soft tyre car is his teammate Aaron Smith in 10th place.
The race leaders are closer than they have been race long now. 0.3 of a second. We're on the last lap of the race. There is Gordon Shedden, who is heading, if he can keep Andrew Jordan at bay, to his 30th BTCC race win. He's got less than a lap in which now to defend, and he's on the limit still, look, coming down through the Craner curves. Andrew Jordan's car looks like it might be getting stronger and stronger as the race wears on. We've got about half a lap remaining. Jordan has not given up, the two of them virtually nose to tail. Is it going to be Gordon Shedden to hang on to the flag, or can Andrew Jordan do what he did at Brands Hatch in race 1 and have a last corner lunge?
Well, if this was last year, I'd have bet my house on Andrew Jordan taking a comfortable second, but as you say, after his lunge at Plato and showing that he wants to win races, who knows? But just going forward again, we now know the soft tyre option is going to be much slower over the race distance than the hard tyre. The hard tyre only losing 4 to 5 tenths over the race, the soft tyre nearly a second and a half.
And Gordon Shedden is going to prevail. This is the end of the race. It's the last corner. The checkered flag is at the ready, and Gordon Shedden wins for the 30th time in the BTCC. He wins round 4 of the championship for 2013 with Andrew Jordan 4 tenths back. Matt Neal 3rd for the podium, Jason Plato 4th, and Adam Morgan takes 5th position after a really good race to fend off Sam Tordoff. Frank Raffle 7th, 8th goes the way of Colin Turkington. Dave Newsham is 9th. Jeff Smith should and does round out the top 10 as here Rob Austin comes out of the chicane. He is going to be 14th ahead of Rob Collard, both of them having had a busy old race. And then behind Ollie Jackson is 16th. James Kay, the 3rd of these cars, is going to come through to win the Jack Sears Trophy element of the race for the Super 2000 machinery. Only 9 tenths ahead of Liam Griffin in the Ford Focus, who finishes 2nd in class. And Joe Girling takes 3rd in class at the flag. On the last lap, we had drama coming out of Coppice, and Jack Goff it was, who was in the wars and in the gravel. So he ran wide, managed to gather it all up, get back onto the tarmac, but loses momentum, Tim, and therefore on a fast straight like that is easy pickings.
Yeah, shame, but good to see that Jack has got to the finish and had some valuable experience over the race pace, but no doubting the man in charge of that race, Gordon Shedden. Is he going to repeat what he did last year with 2 wins and a 2nd place? That's what kick-started his championship last year, and he needs to do it again this year.
Well, a great drive. We'll find out in a few moments whether he was being caught or whether he was managing that gap, but it was down to 0.3 of a second, so that was a bit close for comfort, wasn't it?
Well, it was, considering that Andrew Jordan was carrying that 36 kilos.
Yeah.
We'll never know whether Shedden really had it under control, but it was a little bit close for comfort, wasn't it? But fair play to Andrew Jordan with 36 kilos. That was a very strong performance, and you always look to see the cars that can carry the weight best. And don't forget, going into race 2, Shedden's car will now gain 45 kilos, and in fact Jordan's car will stay exactly the same, so it'll be very interesting.
And therefore Pertec Racing has the setup already, because they've just had a race on that weight, and the Honda Yuasa Racing team start afresh, don't they, with the extra weight on the car. So the drivers make their way back towards the pit lane. The winning cars will go through the scrutineering checks, and of course the story hasn't quite ended yet, because as we saw at Brands, going through scrutineering, anything could still happen. Confirmation of the results. Gordon Shedden takes the win from Andrew Jordan, and Matt Neal 3rd. 4th goes the way of Jason Plato. Adam Morgan takes 5th ahead of Sam Tordoff and Frank Raffle. Colin Turkington 8th, Dave Newsham 9th, and Jeff Smith eventually gets himself back to where he started for 10th. Aaron Smith is 11th, and the best of those on soft tyres from Matt Jackson and Tom Onslow Cole. The Robs 14th and 15th, Austin ahead of Collard, Ollie Jackson 16th, then it's Foster, Goff, Kay and Griffin to round out the top 20. So what does that do to the championship? Well, Jason Plato still leads, but he's 5 points now ahead of Andrew Jordan. Sam Tordoff is there 3rd, Matt Neal 4th, Adam Morgan's 5th ahead of Jeff Smith. Gordon Shedden creeping into the picture now 7th ahead of Colin Turkington, Frank Raffle and Matt Jackson 10th.
Well, it was Aaron Smith, who had been in 10th, lost that position to Jeff Smith in the 2nd Pertec car on the last lap. So the soft tyre cars were struggling. They ended up 11th, 12th and 13th. But everyone will be able to learn from that and study the lap times.
10 times possibly here, going through the scrutineering checks, coming into the pit lane. Remember what happened at Brands Hatch for Gordon Shedden. The car failed the ride height, and so he was excluded from the middle race. That's why he was at the back for race 3. But I think all is well as the car is released down towards the victory area. So Gordon Shedden, as I say, takes his 30th career win in the BTCC. Andrew Jordan 2nd, and Neal for third. Once again, Honda Civics proving to be the cars to have. Although we had those 2 wins for MG at Brands Hatch. Jason Plato, the better of the 2 MG drivers, finishing 4th. And a delighted Gordon Shedden. Yeah, Brands Hatch was a trying weekend. Season starts here and all that.
Absolutely, just like it did last year, and we all know how that finished. But that was a good victory. He'll be very pleased. Of course, this is a home race for Dynamics, Team Dynamics, and as it is for many teams. So although Gordon only has 1 home race up in Scotland, it's a big one for the team.
Yeah, this is his second home, as it were. Yes, coming to Donington Park, the home circuit for the team, and takes the win by 0.426 of a second. The reigning champion then. Gloves off, helmet off in a moment. And Andrew Jordan will be there for second place, Matt Neal third, but no doubt about the winner. Lights to flag victory for Gordon Shedden. There's Andrew Jordan being congratulated by his sister, Sarah. And the race winner, Gordon Shedden, is ready to talk to Steve Ryder.
Yeah, congratulations, Gordon. And I know it's only the 4th race of the season, but with the weight advantage you had and being on pole position, this had a sort of must-win feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, to start from pole position with no ballast, you got to really be looking to win, you know. And I was quite happy out there. Car was really good, and you know, I think, judging by the state of the track, it was more like a rallycross track in places. There's a lot of dirt, a lot of stones, so I was just kind of, you know, trying not to do anything daft in the last third of the race, and you know, manage the gap to Andy and bring it home and get some good points. So fantastic to win, though. Really, really chuffed.
Yeah, perfect start. And how much were you actually managing that race, and how concerned were you possibly in the closing stages?
Yeah, I mean, I think I had it under control, you know. Like, it's always easier to follow, and with so much dirt on the track, you know, obviously with Andy, he can just, you know, fire through like the old hairpin in particular in Coppice. But for me, it was just a question of, you know, you don't want to take a horrible bounce and run off the road or anything, so just, you know, drive it around and get it to the end, try and be nice to it.
Have those track conditions out there surprised you, and what sort of problems are they posing?
Yeah, I mean, so many people are obviously cutting the corners. That, I mean, it's like a ploughed field in areas, so you've got to be really careful, because if you just get a wheel offline, you just basically drive off the road. So you've got to be super, super careful. But you know, little Honda Civic was absolutely fantastic in that race. Obviously, we'll pick up a lot of ballast for race 2, but you know, hopefully we can have another strong result then.
Yeah, but you've opened your account in the defence of your title. More weight for race 2, as you say. What might you hope for in the afternoon that lies ahead?
I mean, normally you would say that obviously putting a bit of weight might slow the car down a little bit. However, you know, every time we seem to run with ballast in the car, it improves the balance. So it's a little bit of an unknown at the moment, but you know, I can't wait for race 2. We'll, you know, make a couple of little tweaks and go out and try and win the next one as well.
And those soft tyres to come as well, which seem to be no great advantage around here.
Yeah, I don't know where the top car that had soft tyres finished, but yeah, we've got our strategy on that, and you know, obviously it doesn't matter because everyone's got to use them at some stage, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but you've nailed the important victory here. Race winner Gordon Shedden. Let's get more reaction now from Louise. Well done, Gordon.
Yeah, and with Andy Jordan, who was hot on Gordon's heels for most of that race. No last corner lunge this time round, though.
I wasn't quite close enough this time, but no, the car was fantastic. Adam, my engineer, and all the Eurotech and Pertec guys done an amazing job with the car. You know, with 36 kilos like that, to get that close to Gordon when he's got no weight on, I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, it was Honda versus Honda for quite a few laps, but there's just no way past him this time.
He was strong through the craners and through the old hairpin. There was a huge amount of dirt had been poured onto the old hairpin, so it made it very slippy there. So I couldn't really get close enough, but no, really good result, really pleased with that.
Well, as you said, you had ballast on board that time round, which Gordon didn't. It's going to be roles reversed for the next race. He's going to have more ballast than you, so how much of an impact do you think that will have?
Well, we keep the same ballast. We keep 36 kilos for that, so we got a really good start in that race. So yeah, hoping for a win in the next race, because yeah, things are going really well.
Well, that's 3 second places you've had so far, isn't it, this season? So yeah, that win's just around the corner.
Yeah, it's going to come, isn't it, hopefully. But consistency is the key at the minute. We've got to think big picture, and the car's working really, really well, so credit to all the guys.
Good stuff. Well done you. Let's bring in Matt Neal, third place finish at this point. 3 Hondas on the podium. A clean sweep for you guys. Good race.
It was a great race, and as I said yesterday, Jason's a very determined character, so I knew if I let him near me, he was going to get his claws in the back and really have a go, but just managed to keep enough distance just for that safe yard. But it was very difficult because the amount of corner cutting out there, the dirt was getting thrown out every time. So I was trying to be committed and keep up with these two. But every time you get to a corner, it's a different scenario you're approached with them. I ran wide a couple of times, and then I just thought, well, let's keep it clean and keep it safe.
That's when sort of Jason got a bit back into me.
Well, you did, and you had a mirrors full of MG for the last few laps. I mean, how confident were you that you could keep him behind? How concerned were you that Jason might just go for that lunge?
I'm never confident, but I didn't want to give up a Honda 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's great, and it's great for the market. It's great that we've got both teams up here doing it, so it's a great result.
It bodes well for the rest of the day, doesn't it? How worried should the other guys be?
Jason was carrying 45 kilos that time. Flash was on base weight. I was pretty light. Andy, to be fair to him, was carrying a fair bit of weight. So you might see a little bit of a turnaround, and I think Jason will pick his heels up a bit in the next one. But yeah, we're up for the challenge.
Good stuff. We look forward to it. Thanks very much. We'll let you get off to the podium. We've got some more reaction coming back in just a few minutes, so make sure you join us after this break.